Last night I dreamt I went to Manderley again. Manderley. Our Manderley. Secretive and silent, as it had always been. Grey stones, shining in the moonlight of my dream. The mullioned windows reflecting the green lawns and the terrace. As I stood there, hushed and still, I could swear that the house was not an empty shell. It lived and breathed as it had lived before. Light came from the windows. The curtains blew softly in the night air. And there, in the library, the door would stand half open. My handkerchief on the table beside the bowl of autumn roses. I stood there, listening, hoping, half expecting to hear the crunch of car wheels on the gravel, to hear footsteps in the hall, to see Maxim standing there, smiling at me.
Winter, the man who owns Manderley. He looks so ill, doesn't he? They say he can't get over his wife's death. Poor man, what a tragedy. We'll ask him over for coffee. Well, why not, for heaven's sake? He'll be grateful, sitting there all by himself. I'll write him a note. Now, where's my pen?
In your handbag.
We're only being friendly after all. He'll be grateful for that. Nothing worse than being lonely in Monte Carlo. Loneliness is always worse when you're surrounded by people enjoying themselves. Now, there. Take that across to the waiter and tell him to bring us another cup.
Why, Mr. De Winter, how sweet of you to join us. I recognized you just as soon as you came through that door. Why, there's Mr. De Winter, I said to myself. There's Billy's friend, Mr. De Winter. He's on his honeymoon now. Did you know that? He got married last month.
He and Dora. Billy was telling me that Palm Beach is crowded with the most exciting people. They're having such a lovely time. Thank you so much. Do you know Palm Beach, Mr. De Winter?
No, I don't.
Oh, it's the most wonderful place. So glamorous. Parties every night.
No, I'm afraid I'm not much of a party goer.
You're not? Oh, my Billy just loves them. But then if he had a home like Manderley, I guess he wouldn't want to play around in Palm Beach. Manderley. Isn't that the most beautiful name you ever heard? My Billy says it has all those big places beat for beauty. Why, you could never bear to leave it. Isn't there a minstrel's gallery at Manderley? And some very valuable portraits? Mr. De Winter is so modest he won't admit it. But I believe that lovely home of his has been in the family since the Norman conquest. Isn't that so? I suppose your ancestors must often have entertained royalty at Manderley, Mr. De Winter.
Not since Ethelred, the one who was called the Unready. In fact, it was while he was staying with my family that he was given the name. He was invariably late for dinner.
Is that really so? I'd no idea. But my history is very shaky, and the kings of England always muddled me. But that is very interesting. I must write and tell my daughter she's a great scholar.
Are you staying here long?
Well, that all depends. I have some dear friends in Paris. Or we might go on to St. Moritz. Who knows? I do so adore being fancy-free, don't you?
What do you think of Monte Carlo? Or don't you think of it at all?
Oh, it is very elegant, I suppose. A bit artificial.
She's spoiled, Mr. De Winter. That's her problem. Most girls would give their eyes for the chance of seeing Monty.
Wouldn't that rather defeat the purpose?
I'm faithful to Monty. The English winter gets me down and my constitution just won't stand it. It's those ghastly fogs I hate in London. You don't get them in Manderley, do you? Oh, the West Country must be enchanting in the spring.
Yes, Manderley was looking its best.
Excuse me, Mrs. Van Hopper. Madame Blaise is waiting upstairs.
Madame Blaise, my dressmaker? Oh, great heavens, I quite forgot.
Well, don't let me keep you. Fashions change so quickly nowadays, they may have altered by the time you get to your room.
It's been so delightful running into you like this, Mr. De Winter. Now, I've been brave enough to break the ice. I hope I shall see something of you. You must come and have a drink sometime in the suite. I may have a few people coming in tomorrow evening. Why not join us?
I'm so sorry, but I'm planning to go to Suspern. I don't know when I shall be back.
Oh, I hope they've given you a good room. The place is half empty, so if you're uncomfortable, mind you make a fuss. Has your valet unpacked for you yet?
I don't possess one. Perhaps you'd like to do it for me.
Well, I hardly think... Perhaps you could make yourself useful for Mr. De Winter if he wants anything done. She's a capable child, in many ways.
It's a charming suggestion, but I stick to the family motto. He travels the fastest who travels alone. Perhaps you've never heard of it.
What a funny thing. Numero deux. Suppose that sudden departure was a form of humor. Men do such extraordinary things. I remember a well-known writer who, whenever he saw me coming, used to dart down the service staircase. I suppose he had a penchant for me and wasn't sure of himself. I was younger then, of course.
What happened to Mrs. De Winter?
Oh, my dear, it was dreadful, tragic. They say he never talks about it, never even mentions her name. She was drowned in a bay near Manderley.
Mrs. Van Hopper tells me that you're good at sketching.
I'm John, yes.
You must let me see some of your work. I've quite a collection at home. Always looking for new talent, you know.
Oh, I'm sure you wouldn't be interested in me, Mr. Darwin.
Oh, don't you be too sure, my dear.
Oh, pardon me. Handkerchiefs? Where are my handkerchiefs?
I'm coming, Mrs. Van Hopper. Excuse me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Get out of the way.
No, please.
You can't sit there. It's soaking wet.
Well, it doesn't matter a bit, really.
No, leave that. Lay a place at my table. Mademoiselle will be lunching with me.
I couldn't possibly.
Why not?
Well, it's very kind of you, but please don't be polite. I'm quite all right here.
I'm not being polite. I would like you to have luncheon with me. Even if you had not knocked over that vase so clumsily, I would still have invited you. Come and sit down. We needn't talk if we don't feel like it.
Melon, please, and grilled sole.
And to drink, mademoiselle?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you, mademoiselle. L'américaine ne déjeune pas, mais la petite est casée.
What's happened to your friend?
Oh, she's not feeling very well this morning.
Well, nothing serious, I hope.
The doctor thinks it's influenza, and he's told her to stay in bed.
I behaved very badly yesterday afternoon. You must try to forgive me.
Oh, I didn't...
I was thoroughly ashamed of myself. My manners were atrocious. My only excuse is that I've become boorish through living alone.
Well, you weren't rude. Oh, no ruder than Mrs. Van Hopper. And she didn't mean to be rude. She just asks a lot of questions. She does that to everyone. Or anyone who's important, that is, you know.
Oh, I'm flattered. Why does Mrs. Van Hopper think I'm important?
I think because of Manderley.
She's very much older than you. Is she a relation?
Oh, no.
Have you known her long?
Well, she's not really a friend. She's an employer. She's training me to be a thing called a companion. And she pays me £90 a year.
I didn't know. I didn't know that you could buy companionship. It sounds rather a primitive idea, like an Eastern slave market.
I looked the word up in a dictionary. It said, a companion is a friend of the bosom.
Why'd you do it?
Well, £90 is a lot of money to me.
Haven't you any family?
No, they're dead.
You wish your steak now, sir, or later?
Later.
Very good, sir.
Thank you.
Do you enjoy being a friend of the bosom?
I enjoy some of it.
Don't you find it rather irksome?
Sometimes, I suppose, yes.
Tell me about it.
Tell you what?
Tell me what it's like. Tell me what you do.
I couldn't.
Why not?
I wouldn't know where to begin.
Try.
Please, I'd rather not.
Sounds to me as though you're ashamed of it.
Why'd you say that?
Well, it's an impression, speculation, nothing more.
Well, you're right. It is rather shameful. Well, sometimes it's very shameful. Well, yesterday afternoon, it was awful.
What happened?
Well, Madame Blaze came with some dresses. And Mrs. Van Hopper bought 3 of them. They were terribly expensive. Anyway, afterwards, I went down to the lobby with her, with Madame Blaze, and she tried to give me 100 francs. As commission, she said. I was so ashamed I didn't know where to look. I was so embarrassed.
I think you've made a mistake.
You think I should have taken the money?
No, heavens no. I think you've made a mistake in coming here, in joining forces with Mrs. Van Hopper. You're not made for this sort of a job. You're too young, for one thing, and too vulnerable. Blaze and her commission, that's nothing. There'll be plenty of Madame Blazes in your life if you stick to it. You can either give in and become a sort of Blaze yourself, or stay as you are and be broken. Haven't you ever thought about the future? I mean, supposing Mrs. Van Hopper suddenly grows tired of her friend of the bosom, what then?
I'd get another job, I suppose. There are plenty of them. Well, the magazines are full of advertisements for ladies' companions.
Grilled sole for mademoiselle with pommes sautées and haricots verts. And the steak bleu for monsieur with green salad.
We have a bond in common, you and I.
What's that?
Do you want to see the sommelier, monsieur?
No, this will do me fine, thank you.
Thank you.
We're both alone in the world. Oh, I have a sister, but we don't see much of each other. And an aging grandmother, whom I pay duty visits to 3 times a year. But neither of them provide much in the way of companionship. I shall have to congratulate Mrs. Van Hopper. You're cheap at £90 a year.
Well, you're not really alone. Well, you've got a home and I haven't.
An empty house can be as lonely as a full hotel and much less impersonal. So, Mrs. Van Hopper is ill in bed. Who's looking after her?
A nurse.
So you have a holiday?
Yes, I suppose I do.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. I haven't really thought. I might do some sketching.
Ah, so our friend of the bosom is also an artist.
I'm not a very good one.
It's too windy for sketching. Come for a drive.
know this place? Have you been here before? It's getting late. Shouldn't we be going home? It's getting late.
Yes.
Have you been here before?
Yes, some years ago. I wanted to see if it had changed.
Has it?
No. No. How different from the sea at home. Do you know the West Country?
Not really.
It's unlike anywhere else on Earth, at this time of year especially. The sea is like slate, still cold after the long winter. From the terrace at Manderley, you can hear the tide, the waves sweeping into the little bay. Daffodils are staring in the evening breeze, thousands of them massed together like an army, shoulder to shoulder. Then there are primroses, too. Soon the bluebells. You should never pick wildflowers, never. You should always leave them where they belong. The only flower that looks better when it is picked is the rose. I have roses in the house at Manderley for 8 months of every year. Roses and lilac, great branches of lilac. There's a little pathway down to the valley with huge clumps of azalea and rhododendron. The beauty of it is intoxicating. It leaves you dazed, breathless. We should be getting back. Mrs. Van Hopper will be getting anxious.
My gloves.
Do you like poetry?
Very much.
Then take it. Thank you for today.
What did you do with yourself yesterday?
I played tennis with a professional.
With me laid up like this, you've nothing to do. That's the problem. I just hope your tennis will improve. A poor player is a great bore. You still serve underhand?
Yes?
You must come up to the net more. You'll never make a good player until you do. And don't forget my taxol when you go shopping this morning. Don't just moon around the hotel all day. Travel is supposed to broaden the mind, so broaden it. There's a good girl.
Yes, Mrs. Van Hopper.
What a big sigh.
Was it? I was just thinking.
About what?
If only there could be an invention that bottled up memories like scent. And the memory never faded, never got stale. And then when you wanted it, the bottle could be uncorked and it'd be like living that moment all over again.
What particular memories in your young life would you like uncorked?
I'm not sure. I'd like to keep this moment and never forget it. Why are you doing all this?
Or what?
Well, you're just being kind, aren't you? Charitable. You feel sorry for me. I wish I was 36, dressed in black satin with a string of pearls.
Well, you wouldn't be here with me if you were. Oh, do stop biting your nails. They're ugly enough already.
I don't understand you at all.
Yes, well, that's really not so surprising. We've only known each other a week.
Yes, but you know everything there is to know about me. Well, that's not much, I suppose. But that's because I'm young and nothing much has happened to me, except people dying. But you, I don't know any more about you than when we first met.
What did you know then?
I knew you lived at Manderley and that you'd lost your wife.
I'll tell you the one big difference between you and me. You want to preserve memories. I wish to ignore them. The past for me is bitter and ugly. I want to start my life all over again. But the trouble is, the past, however unpleasant it may have been, the past exerts its own most powerful fascination. Sometimes the scent is too strong for the bottle, and too strong for me. And then the devil in one tries to draw the cork. I did that on the first drive we took together when we climbed the hills and looked over the precipice. I was there some years ago with my wife. You asked me if it was still the same, if it had changed at all. No, it was just the same. But I was thankful to realize, oddly impersonal, she and I had left no record. It may have been because you were with me. You have blotted out the past for me, far more effectively than all the bright lights of Monte Carlo. But for you, I'd have left ages ago and gone on to Italy, perhaps, Greece, anywhere. You have saved me all those wanderings. That's why I seek your company. So damn your ideas of my kindness and feeling sorry for you. I want you with me. That's all. And if you don't believe me, you can leave now and go home. Go on, find your own way home. Go on!
Please take me back to the hotel.
Forget what I said to you just now. That's all finished and done with. Don't let's ever think of it again, all right? When shall I see my friend of the bosom again?
I'm not sure.
Or shall we say lunch tomorrow? If you can make it. 12:30. And promise me that you will never wear black satin.
Are you sure it'll be all right for you to get up tomorrow?
Of course it's all right. I haven't sneezed since Tuesday. Oh. Did you tell the manager about the drafts?
Yes, Mrs. Van Hopper.
I've never known such drafts. It's like sitting in a Frigidaire. Is Nell Middlesex still here?
I don't think so.
What about Max de Winter?
Yes, I saw him in the restaurant today.
What a strange man he is. Attractive, but strange. Difficult to know, I should think. They say he was quite different before his wife died. What a dreadful thing that was. I never saw her, but I believe she was very lovely. Exquisitely turned out and brilliant in every way. They used to give tremendous parties at Manderley. Oh, it was all very sudden and tragic, and I believe he adored her.
Mrs. Van Hopper's suite? Oh, would you hold on a minute, please? It's Mrs. Nicholson Drury.
Oh, fine. Let me talk to her. Helen? My dear, how are you? What? When? Is it serious? Oh, thank God for that. When are you going? Helen, listen. We're gonna come with you. No, I insist. Oh, to hell with Europe. Helen, listen, dear. Please listen. I'll make all the arrangements, and I'll call you tomorrow around 10, okay? Fine. Now, don't worry, Helen, and keep cheerful, and don't worry. Goodbye, dear. We're going home.
Home?
Helen's had a cable from New York. Her daughter's got appendicitis, and they've cabled her to go home, and we're going with her. I'm sick to death of Europe, and we can come back in the early fall. How do you like the idea of seeing New York?
I'm not sure.
What do you mean you're not sure? I can make you out sometimes. Don't you realize that girls in your position with no money can have the grandest fun in New York? Plenty of boys and excitement, and you won't be at my beck and call as much as you are here. Don't look so miserable, for heaven's sake. I thought you didn't care for Monty.
I've got used to it.
Well, you'll just have to get used to New York. Now go down to the reception desk right away and make that young clerk show some sign of efficiency. Tell him we're leaving Saturday and tell him to get things moving.
Hello. What is it? Is something the matter?
I've come to say goodbye. We're leaving tomorrow.
Come in. Shut the door. What on earth are you talking about?
It's true. We're leaving tomorrow, and there's so much to do, I was afraid I shouldn't see you again. Well, I had to see you. I had to thank you.
Sit down. Why didn't you tell me this before?
She only decided yesterday. It was all done in such a hurry. A friend of hers is going back to New York, and we're going with her. We're joining her in Paris and going through to Cherbourg.
And she wants to take you with her to New York?
Yes.
You want to go?
No, I shall hate it. I shall be miserable.
Then don't go.
Oh, I have to, you know
Why?
that. Why? Well, I work for a salary. I can't afford to leave her.
You want some breakfast and coffee?
No, thank you.
So, Mrs. Van Hopper has got tired of Monte Carlo and wants to go home. Well, so do I. She to America, I to Manderley. Which would you prefer? You have your choice.
Oh, please don't joke about it.
I'm not joking. I never joke at breakfast time. New York with Mrs. Van Hopper or Manderley with me?
I don't understand.
Choose.
You mean you want a secretary or something?
I'm asking you to marry me, you little fool.
You can't.
Can't I? Why not?
You can't mean it.
I do.
But I don't belong to your world.
What is my world?
Well, Manderley, you know what I mean.
Surely I'm the best judge of that. You think I'm asking you on the spur of the moment, don't you? Because you say you don't want to go to New York. You think I'm asking you to marry me for the same reason that I took you for that drive on the first day. To be kind, don't you?
Yes.
Yes, well, one of these days you'll realize that being kind isn't my strongest quality. You still haven't answered my question. Will you marry me? Obviously not. I'm sorry. It's a fine blow to my conceit. I thought you loved me.
But I do love you. I love you dreadfully. I've been crying all night because I thought I'd never see you again.
Bless you for that. One day, I'll remind you of this love. And you won't believe me. Oh, what a shame. What a shame you have to grow up. Well, that's settled. Instead of being Mrs. Van Hopper's companion, you will be mine, and your duties will be very much the same. I, too, like to play bezique after dinner, and someone to pour out my tea. The only difference is that I don't take Taxol. I prefer Enos. And you must never let me run out of my particular brand of toothpaste. Oh, my poor darling. I'm sure this isn't your idea of a proposal. We should be in a conservatory. You in a white dress, with a flower in your hand, and a violin playing a waltz in the distance. And I should make love to you under a palm tree. Never mind. I'll take you to Venice for a honeymoon, and I'll hold hands with you in a gondola. But we won't stay long, because I want to show you Manderley. Who's going to tell Mrs. Van Hopper, you or me?
You tell her. She'd be so angry.
Does 42 seem very old to you?
Oh, no, I don't like young men.
Oh, you. Do you mind how soon you marry me?
How soon?
Well, the whole thing could be arranged in a few days, over a desk with a license. You don't want a trousseau, do you, or any of that nonsense?
You mean not in a church?
Not in a church.
Well, what about all your relations and all your friends?
I had that kind of wedding before.
We'll do whatever you like. Oh, won't it be fun?
Well, 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 who'd have thought it? I suppose I have to hand it to you for a double-time worker. Still waters certainly run deep in your case. How did you manage it? Lucky for you I had influenza. Now I know how you spent your days. Tennis lessons, my eye. You might have told me.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And now he says he wants to marry you as soon as possible. Lucky again. And lucky you have no family to ask awkward questions. Lucky you. Oh, well, it's nothing to do with me anymore.
No.
I just wonder what his friends will think. Oh, well, I guess that's his problem. I suppose you realize he's years older than you.
Well, he's only 42 and I'm old for my age.
You certainly are. Tell me, my dear, have you been doing anything you shouldn't?
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, well, never mind. I always said that English girls were dark horses for all their hockey-playing attitudes. Your beau didn't even ask me to the wedding.
Well, I don't think he wants anyone. Just the two of us, no guests. And you'll have sailed by then.
I just hope you know what you're doing. He's a difficult man, they say, and you'll have to adapt yourself to his ways. You'll have your work cut out as mistress of Manderley, and frankly, my dear, I can't see you doing it. You haven't got the experience. You don't know that milieu. Why, you can scarcely string two sentences together at my bridge teas. What are you going to say to all his friends? The Manderley parties were famous when she was alive.
What parties?
Hasn't he told you about them? I wonder why not. Naturally, I hope you'll be happy. And I grant you he's a very attractive creature. But I'm just so afraid you're making a very big mistake. And one that you'll regret bitterly. You know why he's marrying you, don't you? He wants company, that's all. Don't flatter yourself he's in love with you. That great empty place just gets on his nerves. He wants company. Simple, undemanding company. That's why he chose you, my dear.
What are you thinking?
About you. About Manderley. When I was a child, when both my parents were alive, we went down to the West Country for a holiday. We stopped at a village shop so that I could buy some sweets. It's one of those shops that sell everything, you know. Just by the counter, there were some postcard photographs. Well, not very good ones. The colors were all wrong. But one of them was so breathtaking. It was the most breathtaking place I'd ever seen. It was a country house, surrounded by trees with green lawns stretching down to the sea. Instead of buying sweets, I bought that postcard. It cost half my weekly pocket money. I asked the old shop lady what the picture was meant to be. Why? That's Manderley, she said. You're Manderley.
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Don't be. We're almost there now. I expect you want your tea. Why don't you take off that mackintosh? It hasn't rained at all down here. And put that little fur thing straight. What lamb. I bustled you down here so fast. We should have stopped in London and got you some clothes.
It doesn't matter to me. It's clothes, if you don't mind.
Most women think of nothing but clothes.
I hope I won't let you down too badly.
Let me down? How on earth could you let me down?
So ignorant about things.
What things?
Dinner parties, entertaining, things like that. I won't know what to say, what to do, what spoons and forks to use, what to order, what to prepare. I won't know anything.
You just be yourself and everyone will adore you. You see those trees on the brow of that hill? That's Manderley in there. Those are the woods. About the house. Mrs. Danvers will take care of all that.
Who's Mrs. Danvers?
The housekeeper. Marvelous woman. You can leave everything to her. She may be a little bit stiff at first, I dare say. It's just her manner. You mustn't take it to heart. Ah. Here we are. Blast the woman.
Who were all those people?
Don't worry, you won't have to say anything. I'll do it all.
Welcome to Manderley, madam.
Here we are, Frith. It was raining when we left London. You don't seem to have had it down here. Is everyone well?
Yes, sir, thank you, sir. No, it's been a dry month on the whole. Glad to see you home, sir, and hope you've been keeping well. Oh, and Madam, too.
Yes, we're both well, thank you, Frith. A little tired after the journey and wanting our tea. I didn't expect all this business.
Mrs. Danvers' orders, sir.
I might have guessed it. Come along, this won't take long. Thank you very much for coming to greet us like this. It's good to be back. Although my wife has never been to Manderley before, she knows it and loves it already. From now on, it won't be just my Manderley or your Manderley, it will be her Manderley as well. And so, with all of you, I say to her, welcome home. Oh, darling. This is Mrs. Danvers.
How do you do? Welcome to Manderley, Mrs. De Winter.